Let's return now to where we began the program an hour ago, the site of Christchurch's CTV building, the building which collapsed on February 22nd, 2011. No longer exists, of course, but memories do of the 115 people who perished inside it. And this afternoon, the police announced that despite a 3-year investigation, no charges would be laid. Nigel Hampton QC told us earlier that was a woeful decision. Families were alerted earlier today directly by police or in an email from the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment. Now, among those family members, Tim Elms. Tim's daughter, Teresa McLean, was working as a nurse in the building that day. She left behind 2 sons, aged 8 months and 3 years. I asked him if he'd hoped someone would be held accountable.
I think so. I think it would have brought it to the public more so than perhaps the Royal Commission, which was highly technical. I think this would have answered a lot of questions that perhaps people would have had.
Are you at the building site now? Are you at the site of the CTV building?
I am, yeah.
Why are you there? Why did you go there?
Oh, there was, as you can imagine, John, the phone's been ringing a little bit this morning. So we've been talking to various people. We only got the message this morning, of course. And, Detective Superintendent Peter Reid rang us first and told us, which he has always done so since day one. He's always contacted us first to tell us what's going to happen. So I appreciate that.
Did he express regret in his inability to prosecute?
Yeah, I think he knows that. And I think we're singing from the same song sheet, that we're both disappointed. But, I mean, it's all down to law, as I understand it, whether they would actually get a conviction. And that's the advice they've got, is they probably wouldn't.
Would you have liked, though, to have seen a jury determine that, at least for it to have been heard in a court?
Well, my personal thoughts are I would have liked it to have gone, even if it wasn't successful. I think a lot of the information and evidence would come out, and people could make their own judgments then in the public arena, more so, I say, than the Royal Commission, which was highly technical, and of course it didn't have the same powers as a court of law. So it would have aired it better, I think.
It was highly technical, but it was also very clear about the design deficiencies, the woeful inadequacies of the plans, the fact that the man who was in charge was out of his depth and his boss was just not particularly interested. All of those things were apparent in the Royal Commission. When did you get down to the CTV building on the night? When did you get there? Were you in Christchurch on the night?
No, we live in Harden, which is 80 kilometres from town. My daughter came, who was heavily pregnant at the time. She came down and spent quite a lot of time in, I think it was Latimer Square, where they were having the...
That's right.
And my late daughter's husband was here, and we were sort of on the other end of the phone, and she said, you won't achieve anything by coming in, Dad. Just stay there and I'll keep in touch with you, which she did.
How are your grandkids?
Yeah, they're growing, lovely boys. Absolute delight. Yeah, we have them every 6-7 weeks or so. We used to have them more than that in the early days. But, they've now got a new mum, which is great for them. And we're hoping that, they're 9 and 7 now. Of course, they were only 8 months and 2 when they lost their mum.
Tim, 115 people died. And I keep using that figure, but it's just staggering, including your daughter. And the buck hasn't really stopped anywhere in particular. It's kind of swirled around, and now it seems on the face of it to be just quietly disappearing. Is that good enough?
I suppose we can only work within the law, John. And so I don't know. It's frustrating. It's all about accountability. It's quite interesting, John. Me as an old electrician, if I'd have done work in '86 when the building was built, I'm still liable for it today if there was a problem. It's quite interesting. Yet the engineers, who are far higher qualified and trained than I was, are not. Interesting that, isn't it?
Tim Elms, who lost his daughter